Good afternoon, Dunkirk and Fredonia listeners, and welcome back to High Noon Friday / News at Noon. This show is brought to you by Fredonia Radio Systems on WCVF 88.9 and WDVL 89.5. Usually now we would have our normal segment of High Noon Friday show, where we have student-made segments as well as trivia slightly after 12. However, because of some breaking news the SUNY Fredonia campus has received, we have decided to update the campus and community on what is going on. I'm News Director Lee Pye here today with Maisie Strader, Sara Lodespoto, Joshua Ribakove, and Dan Quagliana, as well as Izzie Inzinna and Sports Director Matt Volz. With this top of the hour update, we'll bring you the latest of SUNY Fredonia's campus music news, sports, weather, national and international news, as well as important updates on the SUNY Fredonia's President Dr. Kolison's address that happened this past Wednesday. First up, here's some music news for Fredonia. Fish Out of Water is hosting their last show for the semester. Bands like K-Hole, Amphobia, and Muddle are playing on Saturday, December 9th at the Creek House. For more information, go to the Fish Out of Water Instagram at FishOutofWaterProd. That's all I have for music news this week. Let's take it to Maisie for some updates on our station, Fredonia Radio Systems.
Fredonia Radio Systems got some very exciting news Monday night. The nominations for Intercollegiate Broadcasting System were posted, with FRS getting quite a few. The nominations are as follows. Chief Engineer Brian Valencina and FRS were nominated for the Best Live Music Broadcast on stations WCVF and WDVL. The anonymous show host of Lover Call were nominated for the Most Creative and Innovative Show for Lover Call, Gay Culture at Fredonia on WDVL. General Manager Hunter Halterman and Station Manager Chloe Kowalik and prior Station Manager Alex Irwin were elected for Best Comedy Program on WCVF and WDVL for their show segment Just the Facts. News Director Lee Pye and Sports Director Matt Volz were nominated for the Best Sports Update on the show News at Noon on WCVF and WDVL. Chloe Kowalik was nominated for the Best News Interview for a Graduate School Fair interview on WCVF and WDVL. Alex Irwin and prior CVF Program Director Natalie Wilkes were nominated for the Best Liner or Sweeper for their VeggieTales Liner on WCVF. Hunter Halterman was nominated for the Best Station ID for a Community ID on WCVF and WDVL. Business Manager Dan Granados was nominated for Best Business Director for radio for WCVF and WDVL. Congratulations to everyone who is nominated. Now, let's bring it to the sports guy, Matt Volz.
Thanks, Maisie, and good afternoon, everybody. The hockey team is back at home tonight after nearly a month on the road taking on Potsdam. Logan Dick is expected to get the start in net for tonight's game, while Charles Anthony Barbeau will likely start tomorrow against Plattsburgh. Tonight's game will start at 7 p.m., while tomorrow's puck drop is at 4 p.m. Parker Gurnett and I will be on the call for both games, and you can watch live on FredoniaBlueDevils.com. Well, the men's basketball team made it back-to-back 10-point victories last night, taking down Houghton 79-69. The Blue Devils made more than half of the shots they took, shooting a remarkable 52.4%. The win improved their record to 4-4, and they will remain on the road for a Saturday afternoon exhibition matchup with Mercyhurst in Erie. The women's basketball team had a tough one at home last night, falling to undefeated Houghton 60-42. The Highlanders played stifling defense all game long, holding the Blue Devils to less than 10 points in both the first and third quarters. Fredonia will be off until the new year, as their next game isn't until January 5th, 2024 at Plattsburgh. And the indoor track and field season begins today as the Blue Devils travel north to Pittsford, just outside of Rochester, for the Nazareth Invitational. The teams will feature many of the same members as the cross-country and outdoor track and field teams. Today's meet will begin at 4 p.m. After some rough performances in their last few games, the Sabres answered the bell last night, taking down the league-best Bruins in Boston 3-1. Tage Thompson returned from injury to get on the score sheet, and J.J. Peterka and Victor Olofsson each added a goal. Devin Levi was stellar in net for Buffalo, stopping 29 of 30 Boston shots. In fact, the only puck that got past Levi was an unfortunate bounce off of defenseman Eric Johnson's skate. The win snapped a 4-game losing streak for the Sabres, and they will return home tomorrow night to face the Montreal Canadiens at 7 p.m. And Bills head coach Sean McDermott apologized yesterday for a speech he made to players back in 2019. In that speech, designed to inspire the team to come together, he used the attacks of September 11th, 2001 as an example, referencing how the hijackers in that attack all came together. An article by Tyler Dunn in the sports publication Go Long revealed former Bills assistants and players' thoughts about McDermott, which were mostly negative. The Bills are in Kansas City this weekend to take on the Chiefs at 4:25 p.m. on Sunday. That's it for your sports update. Now let's take it to Sara for the weather.
Now here is your Northern Chautauqua weather update brought to you by Fredonia Radio Systems.
Hiya, and let's get some weather going. After all of the gloom of this week, today holds promise as it's 54 degrees with medium cloud coverage. Even though we have a strong breeze, enjoy the sunshine and take a walk. It'd be a great way to clear up your mind with all this final exam stress. The clouds make a comeback tonight as the temperatures dip into the upper 40s. It's start getting slightly warmer tomorrow with a cloudy 60 degrees. Create some time to bake a pastry since Saturday is National Pastry Day. I'll be around this weekend, so if you happen to make something, let me know. Obviously, I'm just trying to make sure that you're baking it right. Totally. The clouds open up for a late night rainfall while it sinks into the upper 40s. Good luck to anyone traveling on Sunday since throughout the day we get harsh winds and periods of rain and snow. As we just barely reached 50 degrees, I will be heavily working on either my final projects or packing. So if you see me stressing out on Sunday, no you did not. Later that evening, we get some rain, but as we progress into the night and it drops into the low 30s, an inch of snow begins covering our ground. That's it for your weekend forecast. Safe travels and good luck on your finals. Now let's take it to Josh for national and international news.
Thanks, Sara. Hunter Biden, the son of President Joe Biden, has been indicted and charged with 9 federal tax charges. The special counsel investigating Hunter Biden charged him yesterday on his failure to pay federal taxes for millions of dollars of income, charging him with 3 felony tax offenses and 6 misdemeanor tax offenses. It is alleged that between the years of 2016 and 2019, Biden did not pay at least $1.4 million worth of self-assessed federal taxes, and he filed false returns in 2018 to evade the taxes. If he is convicted, he could be facing a maximum penalty of 17 years in prison. Prepare for an eclipse late Monday night going into Tuesday as an asteroid passes in front of Betelgeuse. On this side of the world, you may be able to see it in Miami and the Florida Keys, as well as some parts of Mexico. Betelgeuse is a red supergiant star located in the Orion constellation, and the asteroid is asteroid Leona. Betelgeuse is around 700 light-years away, over 4,000 trillion miles. The eclipse is expected to only last for about 15 seconds, though it is unclear if the asteroid will completely cover our view of the star, or if it will only partially cover it. So Leona may completely black it out, or it could just result in a ring of fire eclipse. The star is visible to the naked eye, but telescopes and binoculars will enhance the viewing experience. Elon Musk is a curiosity when it comes to his social political status and his role as an entrepreneur. Last Wednesday, Elon Musk used some rather unsavory language at the 2023 DealBook Summit while speaking to a journalist, Andrew Ross Sorkin. Musk has been losing advertisers on his social media company X as they boycott the platform because of Musk's amplifying anti-Semitic posts. Musk told advertisers to not advertise, specifically cursing out the companies that have ceased using X and using the F word. Now, it would appear that Elon Musk is rapidly losing even more advertisers at such a rate that X could potentially end up going bankrupt as he loses Apple, Walmart, Microsoft, IBM, and Disney. Well, folks, I hope you're ready to expand your vocabulary because it is time for the Jazzman Josh Word of the Week. We're doing an a cappella this time. The Jazzman Josh Word of the Week for this week is frazzle. That's right, folks. The word is frazzle, an adjective that means to wear away, to become exhausted. And with Dead Week wrapping up many of our final projects and getting ready for finals week, I imagine so many of you out there are feeling rather frazzled. So make sure to take a deep breath this weekend. Do your best. Don't get too frazzled. Be sure to razzle-dazzle. That does it for today's national and international news. Stay warm and be cool as we bring it to Lee and Dan for a very important update on SUNY Fredonia's President Dr. Kolison's address that was presented on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, December 6th, Fredonia President Stephen Kolison held a meeting in Rausch Recital Hall at 2 p.m. to discuss programs that the administration was removing from the curriculum. These programs include BA Visual Arts and New Media, Art History, BA French, BA French Adolescence Education, BS Industrial Management, BS Mathematics, Middle Childhood Specialist, grades 5 through 9, BA Philosophy, BA Sociology, BA Spanish, BA Spanish Adolescence Education, BFA Visual Arts and New Media, Ceramics, BFA Visual Arts and New Media, Photography, BFA Visual Arts and New Media, Sculpture, BSED Early Childhood Education, birth through 2nd grade. There was false information presented in the Buffalo News press release on Wednesday, including that adolescence education programs were canceled. The English department has an English adolescence education major, and it was mistaken that that program was on the list of the 13 programs that have been chosen to get cut. To clarify to the public, no English majors or BA writing majors are getting cut or on that list. As these programs were announced by Kolison, they were met with shock from the audience, which was composed of students, faculty, and staff. At one point, an audience member yelled out a swear word at the president, who proceeded to tell the audience to quote-unquote calm down. The president made it clear that the students who were enrolled in these majors will be able to finish their degree and successfully graduate, but no new students will be accepted into these programs. After announcing these cuts at the meeting, Kolison was met with boos from the audience and did not stay to answer questions. About an hour after the meeting, 2 different emails were sent out by Executive Vice President and Provost Dr. David Starrett to students who were not affected by these cuts, explaining this new information.
At 11:50 p.m. that night, Dr. Bruce Simon, the chair of University Senate, shared a document with senators that explained in greater detail the announcement that President Kolison made about the cut programs. Simon instructed senators to share the information contained in the document with their constituencies. The most important information that Simon relayed was the president's reasoning for deciding which programs to cut. According to the Roadmap to Financial Stability Questions and Answers on Fredonia's website, quote, an analysis was done of enrollment and graduation rates for 76 undergraduate programs in existence more than 3 years. A 3-year average enrollment, years 2020 to 2021 through 2022 to 2023, was calculated. Programs with average enrollments under 15 were identified. A total of 22 programs were noted. A 3-year average of graduating students from years 2020 to 2021 through 2022 to 2023 was calculated. Programs with average graduations under 4 were identified. A total of 23 programs were noted. A 5-year enrollment trend from years 2018 to 2019 through 2022 to 2023 was also calculated. Programs with trends below the university average trend, which is sitting at negative 27.9%, were identified. A total of 38 programs were noted. Programs appearing in 2 or more of these lists were considered for discontinuance, end quote. Simon went on to say that, quote, in short, the dialogue with shared governance leaders that President Kolison twice mentioned during his address took place within carefully calibrated constraints and parameters that all parties understood and respected. To be painfully clear, Senate leadership team members learned how many and which degree programs are being proposed for discontinuance at the same time as everyone else who attended or viewed President Kolison's address, end quote. Regardless of what programs were cut, program cuts were inevitable after the SUNY Board of Trustees released its budget for the next fiscal year last Tuesday night. In the budget that the board approved, an additional $163 million was allocated for direct state funding to SUNY, but Fredonia only received $2.8 million of that. The majority of that new money went to the 4 university centers, SUNY Albany, Binghamton, Buffalo, and Stony Brook. Quote, the money is there to close deficits at 18 campuses, but SUNY chose to distribute it another way, end quote, said United University Professions President Frederick E. Cowell. UUP is the union that represents the faculty and professional staff across the SUNY system. Quote, instead of working to grow enrollments at these campuses, SUNY is using enrollment decreases as a reason to enact these cuts, which will further lower enrollments and could possibly lead to campuses being closed, end quote, Cowell said. Since Fredonia received so little new funding, the administration here was forced to implement program cuts in order to keep the budget under control. Due to the fact that the president did not share the process of how the administration decided which programs to cut, students, faculty, and staff were left blindsided by the decisions. Quote, I don't know who set up the timing for this, but it feels just about the meanest thing you could do to launch something this big during finals, end quote, said English Department Chair Dr. Kim Marie Cole. Other professors agreed with this sentiment, with Simon exclaiming that, quote, "You don't drop something on the edge of exam week and expect it to be decided by Christmas," end quote. On Wednesday night, a protest was organized on the social media app Yik Yak to take place the next day at noon. Hundreds of students, faculty, and staff showed up at Fenton Hall to protest the administration's decisions.
On Thursday at 12 p.m., students and even faculty and staff gathered to protest against President Kolison's address that happened the day before. Ben Evans, a double major in animation and writing, led the protest, along with Alex Fisher, a double major in political science and writing. The gathering started in the Fenton lobby, right outside President Kolison's office. Evans started it off with the speech.
He's going to know that we work here, and he's going to know that we're going to keep being here, we're going to keep showing up. We're not going to let Fredonia be cut down. We're not going to let this place devolve and lose the vibrant community we have here. We're going to support our departments. We're going to find other ways to save Fredonia, and we're not going to do it by getting rid of the arts at a liberal arts school. All right, Alex, can you next time take this outside? Yeah. Let's go.
Walking around the entire campus, the protesters walked from Fenton to the University Commons to Maydam, where students paused for a handful of minutes chanting multiple phrases at Maydam Hall.
No to cuts! 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 No to town! Kill the funding! Kill the 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 town! Kill the funding! We need teachers! We need teachers! We need teachers! We need teachers! We need teachers!
After finishing their protest at Maydam Hall, the students walked off the campus and onto the sidewalk across President Kolison's mansion, continuing their chants of protest.
We need art! We need language! 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 We need art! And math! Keep going!
Even people driving by on the street showed their support for the students by honking their car horns.
We need teachers!
After these events, the first interaction that Kolison had with students was during his student cabinet meeting that same day at 3 p.m., where he met with Student Association President Rosemarie Rapisarda, Student Association Vice President Stephen Wright, Senior Class President E.J. Jacobs, Junior Class President Dan Quagliana, Sophomore Class President Dakota Richter, and Student Association Comptroller Brian Light. Also in attendance at the meeting was Dr. Strader, Interim Vice President for Student Affairs Dr. Tracy Stenger, Vice President for University Advancement and Executive Director of Fredonia College Foundation Ms. Karen Rohr, Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer Dr. Vicky Sapp, Chief Information Officer Dr. Michael Cuadio, and Interim Chief of Staff and Executive Assistant to the President Dr. Naomi Baldwin. During this meeting, President Kolison attempted to answer the students' questions. In regards to how no students or faculty knew beforehand which programs were being cut or how they were decided, Kolison said, quote, "The provost, Dr. Starrett, came up with some criteria, and he shared that with a group of individuals on campus, saying to look at the criteria that would be used to look at these programs. There was some input to that, and the provost adjusted the criteria, then applied the criteria, and then identified the program," end quote. The president did not identify who this group of individuals was. He continued to say that the programs that are proposed to be cut now were also considered back in 2018 and 2019, and that he is not surprised about the choice of programs. Quote, "So the issue of transparency is really not, to me, much of an issue there," end quote, Kolison said. Quote, "It's more of if we had just decided, say, last month, and then say that these are cut, and that's it, yes, someone would say that you didn't give us a chance to look at the formula, you didn't give us a chance to give us advice, and so you were not transparent in the process. So when someone says we're not transparent, I have to disagree with that," end quote. During this meeting, Kolison was invited to speak at a Student Association-run town hall event that evening at 6 p.m. in the Kelly Auditorium Science Center.
The town hall was hosted by the Student Association Vice President Stephen Wright, but the entire SA Executive Board was in attendance, along with the 3 aforementioned class presidents and the other class senators. Dozens of students and faculty and staff members showed up to hear from the student leaders. During the 90-minute meeting, President Kolison only talked once. He said that he was going to listen to everybody's questions and take notes on students' input. He claimed that he didn't have, quote, too many answers, end quote, that night. He assured students that he was working towards the, quote, best goal, end quote, and finished his brief talk by saying that the students would hear from him at a later date and time. That date and time is not specified. At the end of the town hall meeting, University Senate Governance Officer Dr. Rob Deemer, the chair of the Theater and Dance Department, said that the faculty was working with the president's cabinet to do the best thing possible for the university. He also mentioned how the faculty was just as unaware as the students of the programs were getting cut that were announced on Wednesday. He said the faculty was doing everything they could and that they would hopefully find solutions in the next few months, which Simon agreed with in a separate interview, saying, quote, faculty have been leaders trying to make us a more data-informed campus, end quote. Wright ended the town hall meeting by thanking the students, faculty, and staff for showing up and promised that the Student Association would continue to advocate for and represent the students' interests while dealing with the administration. As representatives of the campus media Fredonia radio systems, we are here to spread factual information on news and will report updates on our Instagram at Fredonia_radio for any other important information about this topic, along with the campus newspaper, The Leader, which can be found online at www.fredonialeader.org. That'll wrap up for today's joint segment of High Noon Friday and News at Noon. Music is prepared by Lee Pye. Sports is presented by Matt Volz. Weather is presented by Sara Lodespoto. National and international news is prepared by Joshua Ribakove. Coverage for Dr. Kolison's address is prepared by Lee Pye, Dan Quagliana, and Izzie Inzinna, while this coverage was read by Lee Pye and Dan Quagliana. And finally, board operations for this broadcast are performed by Izzie Inzinna. Thanks for tuning in to High Noon News at Noon on WCVF 88.9 and WDVL 89.5. From all of us at Fredonia Radio Systems, good luck on finals, and we will see you next semester in 2024.